Hey, folks, here we go. Brian Blessing in Las Vegas. Looking forward to another great week of college football. And we've got the college football playoff rankings that are out. We'll tell you about some significant line movements. Always inviting you to follow on Twitter at Bang the Book and the Sports Betting Podcast. Whatever the sport, the information is there for you in the Bang the Book Sports Betting Podcast. All right. We've got the college football playoff rankings. Georgia, Bama, Notre Dame, and Clemson are your top four. Oklahoma, Ohio State, Penn State with the loss to Ohio State drops down to number 7, so it's not done just yet for them with some help. Penn State still alive. TCU, Wisconsin, Miami, rounding out the top 10. Let's talk about college football this week. Some of the movers. Baylor and Kansas. Money on Kansas is a home dog here. Baylor opened up 9.5. It's down to 7.5, and they are betting the over in the game 60, and that total now up to 63.5. Clemson, 7-point favorite. It's through the key number up to 7.5. The hook could be big. NC State, pretty good football team. Didn't get it done against Notre Dame. Clemson could be walking into a little bit of its hornet's nest in this spot. Iowa State, West Virginia. West Virginia's a 2.5-point favorite. They're betting the under in the game. Now, don't forget, weather can be an issue at this time of year in college football. The weather in West Virginia can get a little snarky, 61.5, and that's down to 60. Maryland and Rutgers a pick. It's gone to Maryland 2. I think you can trust Maryland more than Rutgers, likely the decision there. Georgia Tech with that run-based offense, 9-point favorite up to 10 against Virginia. Bronco Mendenhall, he's a defensive-minded coach. You might look for that clock to be running a lot in that particular game. I'm looking at the total in the Army-Air Force game. Now, I know there's intensity, and that can really lead to hard-hitting and defensive brand of football. But Air Force can score, and they can't stop anybody. And similar offenses going head-to-head. The total's only 59.5, but it's the side that's moving. Air Force is 7.5-point favorite. It's way down below the key number, down to 6.5 now. Air Force favorite at home against Army. Central Florida, SMU. Central Florida 13-point favorite. Totals up to 4, or sides up to 14. The total is 75. That could be a track meet without doubt. Texas, TCU. TCU is a 6.5-point favorite, up to 7. Total on the game is 46. Could the Longhorns circle the wagons here and make this an interesting football game? I think it might be one that's closer than some people think. Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. You got the Cowboys, all the way down at number 11 in the playoff rankings, and as crazy as it sounds, they're not done just yet. They're going to need a lot of help from up above, but if you beat Oklahoma, who's ahead of you, you go up, you probably leapfrog them, get a couple of losses with conference championship games. Oklahoma State, I would not rule them out yet. They're going to have to be impressive the rest of the way. Total on the game, 76, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. Wake Forest, Notre Dame, 14.5-point favorite. Numbers come down a touchdown to 13.5, and the total was 55. It's up to 56. Colorado State, 2.5-point favorite on the road, up to 3 at Wyoming. Josh Allen, a lot of people are talking about potentially the number 1 pick in the draft, and it has been a frustrating season for the Cowboys, to say the very least. Penn State, now I find this interesting. 7.5 up to 8.5 at Michigan State. There's that air out of the balloon, the bubble burst theory, whatever you want to call it, when a team suffers their first loss. Many times they have an adverse reaction. Michigan State, never an easy place to play. Yet, the money has come in on Penn State. Oregon State and Cal 8.5. It's down to 7.5. And, the one team that maybe has upgraded the most in the last month is Arizona. They're at USC. USC 7.5-point favorite. Understand the move here. It's down to 7. Sitting on a key number. I don't know that it comes down below the key number, but Arizona, completely different team with Khalil Tate the last month at quarterback for the Wildcats. This kid, wait till you see him play. He's electric, and Arizona is feeling their oats right now. So there you have it. Some of the line moves for college football. It's going to be another big week. The playoff rankings are out. Season's flying by. Always trying to get you great information here at bangthebook.com. I'm Brian Blessing in Las Vegas. Don't forget to check out the Bang the Book Sports Betting Podcast.